Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today's topic are the top 10 weird things that you will collect as a mechanic. And if you haven't started collecting these things, you might want to start, or at least a few of them, whatever. Let's get into it. One of the first weird things that you're going to want to collect as a mechanic, and this is weird, all right, but you ever get a new power steering line or AC line or a new radiator or maybe a new AC compressor, and they all come with these little plug-offs. I have so many of these little plug-offs, and I'm still collecting. I still collect. And in some cases, if you can ever get a hold of the ones that are about like yay big, yay big, yay big, you're gonna wanna try to collect the big ones too. And I'll tell you why. Smoke testing, gentlemen, smoke testing. Whether you're trying to smoke test for a possible intake leak or some kind of vacuum line leak, or maybe you evacuated the entire refrigerant system and you need to verify or repair because it's failing the leak test. So you put it under a vacuum, whatever, you clear it, you know, evacuate all the refrigerant out, then you put smoke in the system to see where the leak is possibly coming from. You're gonna wanna start plugging some stuff off, and it's not like you can buy this stuff on the tool truck. So this is definitely number one on my list as far as weird things that I collect. And that goes for stuff that you can pick up from the store too. Sometimes these little guys come in handy, or I'm sure you've seen these before, you know, other plug-offs that people used to use on carburetors all the time. So that is definitely my number one on the weird things that you'll collect as a mechanic. Number two is gonna be another weird one, but these emission tee-offs, these vacuum T's and Y's, you're gonna want some of these, and much more than just fixing a minor vacuum leak. These also come in handy for your wiper fluid. That's right, the washer fluid that goes up to the spurter nozzles on the top of your hood. Rodents chew through the hose all the time, and sometimes these little guys get brittle and they break apart, and then you gotta wait and go to the store and try to find something comparable. So I always keep some of this stuff around the house, as well as we have it at the shop, just for that kind of situation. And the size hose that I keep is 5/32 hose. Seems to be a pretty common size for most vacuum lines and washer nozzle lines. So that's my number two. Number three, kind of another weird one, I know, but sometimes when you get you know, side work, or even at the shop, okay, I even do this at the shop. When you go to the shop and you get this like multi-gasket kit, what I'll do is I'll write down the vehicle, year, make, model, engine size on the box. And if, you know, the customer only wants to do one side and then you're still left with the other side, well, I'll keep the gasket, write it on there. More times than not, they don't want the other half of it. So, you know, I always keep this kind of stuff, especially on side jobs that I take from time to time. I don't like doing side work, but if I do side work, I'll write the customer's name on there. Again, year, make, model, engine size, and I'll hang on to it. And should they ever call me back, hey, the other side of my engine's leaking, is there any chance we could possibly do that? Yes, sure, no problem. And you know what? I've got the other half of your gasket right here at the house. So I kept this for Claire. That's why I'm using it as an example. But at the shop, I might keep a couple of more common gaskets, you know, just in case something happens and we need one in a pinch. So that's my number three of weird things that you'll collect as a mechanic. And believe me, this gets pretty thick, which is why there's 10, and you could definitely become a pack rat really, really easily in this field. But all right, moving on to the next one. Let's see. These little fuel things, I always keep those. I don't know if I'm gonna give that a number. I'm just letting you know. These things break and fall apart all the time. I keep those too. Weird things, you know. I don't know if I should give that a number yet. I think I already had this figured out, but I keep those things. All right, weird thing number, what is it, 5? Yeah, 5. Some of you guys might know about this. I started doing this at the dealership. This is for Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram. And I started keeping all these different sensors from these old wiring harnesses. I would cut them off the old wiring harnesses that we were getting ready to throw away. And then I would take the ends, clean and strip the ends off. And then I just started saving connectors. And in case rodents came through, chewed a connector all the way down to the butt end of it, you know, I had a spare connector that I could use, plug right on in, crimp, solder, heat shrink, all that other good stuff, and send it. So I kept this. This is going to be number 5 for me. You know, you got to have this kind of weird stuff. PCM connectors, that people break these things all the time because they get filled with dirt and they're not sure what to do, so they just keep cranking on this thing till it breaks. I found that the easiest way to get this to move, okay, is because these things get trapped with so much dirt and debris. It's best to take some electric cleaner and spray around it. There's special electric cleaner you can buy from the auto parts house. Spray all around it, and then take your air gun and just sit there and blow through the ends around the PCM, you know, and then just clean it up a little bit, and then slowly lift it up. If it still feels like there's some dirt and debris, spray it again and hit it again with some light compressed air, and that should take care of it. But anyways, I always keep a couple just in case. You never know, something weird might happen. So that's my number 5. Some of you guys have seen that before, but it's another weird thing that you'll collect as a mechanic. If you haven't started doing it already and you work at a dealership, I strongly recommend it. And if you ever go to work for an independent shop, guess what? You've got a bunch of connectors that you can use down the road. All right, number 6, gonna be these E-clips. You'll find this on some older cars for wiper arms and things like that, and sometimes around the you know, shift solenoid selector, or whatever you want to call it, the mechanical thing. You're gonna find this on a lot of older cars, these E-clips. So I keep an assortment of that. I think I picked those up from Harbor Freight. They're just, you get so many of them, all different sizes, and they're cheap. Another thing that I like, I prefer the Marine heat shrink. I really do. I think this is the best heat shrink in the business. I'm not saying specifically the Harbor Freight kind, but you know, Harbor Freight Marine heat shrink does work well for me. But I've also thrown in numerous pieces of Chrysler or Mopar rated heat shrink in the mix as well, because you know, so many recalls later, you just end up with extras. So I always kept on stacking them in here. So every time I did a recall, if I had any left, I'd always throw the Marine heat shrink in there, just for safekeeping. So if I ever have to heat shrink and solder, I've got it. Another weird thing that you're gonna see in a lot of shops, O-rings. You can never have enough of these O-rings laying around. They make them in metric, SAE. You can get them in different sizes, small, big, medium, etc. I think the Auto Parts sells a lot bigger of a set, but it's another weird thing that you're gonna end up picking up. I think that's number 8 right now. So number 9 of things, weird things that I'll collect as a mechanic. You gotta have an assortment of these hose clamps. You gotta have them, because these things over time will fail and they'll just sit there and free spin, and next thing you know, you got a coolant leak. And when I'm doing any kind of cooling system repairs, we're always told at my shop, you never reuse the same clamp. For how cheap they are, throw a new clamp on. So I always keep some new clamps around just in case. If I'm fixing something on my own vehicle, I'll reuse a clamp, then I'll pressure test, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll change it out. At work, I just put the new clamp on because that's what we're told to do, and it's just good insurance. It's just a good way of making sure that there's not going to be any potential leaks, you know, a couple miles down the road. Another thing that you're going to want to collect, and this is my last one, number 10. Of course, you guys probably seen this, maybe not, or you already have it. An assortment of bolts of some kind. I got a little miniature Dorman hardware kit here. You guys have seen it in previous videos. This is a metric or Asian vehicle made fastener set. I've also got an SAE set of nuts and bolts as well. At the shop, we have a hardware drawer. We could pull out a couple drawers, lift it up, and we have various sizes of hardware, whether it's metric or SAE. But every once in a while you'll get a vehicle that was missing fasteners to begin with, fasteners that are rounded off, fasteners that strip out, where you have to end up either putting a helicoil in something and running a bigger bolt in, or maybe you have to extract a stud or a broken bolt out of something and now you need a replacement one. But you're always going to want to have some kind of hardware laying around. Even if you're a DIYer, that's like a number 1 thing you need to have laying around your garage. If you drop a bolt in the ground and you're working outside, now you can't find it because it's raining and whatever else, you're just going to want to have some hardware, trust me. Alright guys, well that'll pretty much do it. That'll wrap up my 10 weird things that I've collected as a mechanic, and I continue collecting weird stuff. And as I continue to collect weird stuff, I'll do another video and it'll be a complete separate a complete separate category of 10 other things that I collect. That's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you liked the video. Hit the thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Share it if you want to share it. Tell me what kind of weird things you collect as a mechanic, or what you've collected over the years as a result of being a mechanic or technician. Thanks as always for watching. I look forward to hearing your response. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.